Hello everybody. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you the process in making 300 blackout cases, and if you can see the head stamp, these are 223 cases, and they've already been sized, chamfered inside and out, and you make those from 223 cases. Now these, of course, are Lake City. I believe it's, yeah, Lake City, and I'm going to turn them into 300 blackout. Of course, now there's tons of videos on there already. I don't know why I'm even doing this video. It's just I have some subscribers who have said, show me when you do this. So what I'm going to show you right now, I'm going to move the camera, is here is my Harbor Freight chop saw that I got from a buddy of mine in Texas. He'd been using it. Of course, he also sent me 2 replacement blades. I think they come in 3-pack. He's probably already changed the blade once on the chop saw. And you got this little vise here, and this is the jig I got off of eBay for doing the brass. Making sure I get it right. Turn the light on, that way you can see it a little bit better. And basically, you put your case in here and pull your case back, and you're just chopping off right behind the shoulder. That's all you're chopping off. And then you just slide the case and the cut off shoulder part through here, comes out, of course falls there. And you can see I've already got some shavings there. I haven't fixed up this how I wanted to do it exactly yet. I'm wanting to put this in kind of a tub mounted to a board and set it up that way. But this is my reloading room, so that's not going to bother me. Now, of course, to keep from cutting all the way through this jig, and it's got this nice guard on here, I like this, but to keep from cutting through that jig, I put 2 pieces of foam double stick. I can't remember what it was for. I got 2 more pieces right here. It was a pad, and as you can see, I've cut it. Okay, so I cut 4 pieces. Put those 2 right there. Okay, and basically that keeps that saw blade from cutting into the jig there. Of course, this thing has a safety feature. You got a button up here that you have to push. If you don't push it, you can see right here, it won't go down. You push that down, it goes down. So I'm going to set this up, and you can watch me cut some brass. Now I've already done 50 here. These are already sized, cleaned, ready to load my Hornady interlock 150 grain soft points that you've seen in the earlier video that I used to shoot in my rifle, and they function properly. And then a buddy of mine that actually sold me these dies. Those are 300 AAC Blackout dies from Lee. I got 100 pieces of brass from him that he'd already cut up. I think he decided that either he had enough brass already cut up, or he decided that he'd just rather buy his own brass. Now, I'm the kind, I like to be kind of self-sufficient, do it myself if I've got the tools. So got the dies and some brass from him. Got this from another guy, a good friend of mine in Texas. And of course, like I said, I've done 50. I got 20 right here. Now most of this is the Remington brass from the 220 grain factory ammo I bought. So it wasn't really any cutting of this. There's a couple that I did because I lost one or two cases, so I had to cut some. And I got 5 more cases here that I'm going to cut up just so you can see how it's done. I'm still in the learning process. Sometimes these things won't slide through real good, so just bear with me. Let me get the camera set back up. And try to get it here on the saw so you can see. My hand hopefully won't be in the way. I'm trying to look and see here when I go to do this. Okay. Now this will make some noise, so it's going to be kind of noisy. Okay. You put that first piece of brass in, like I said, you pull it back against this stock, you hold it, get this button down. There's the first piece cut. Just push it through. Take your next piece, again pull it back against the stock. Same thing here. Push it on through. And this is the last one. And now what we have here is some cases that are really too long. Now some guys, they'll take a chamfering tool, get that out of the way. Got a chamfering tool right here. We'll go ahead and kind of take off the rough edges, the burrs, and they'll go ahead and resize. Even though these are long, and I'll show you how long they are. Case length for, the maximum case length for 300 Blackout is 1.368 inches long. And I've got the Lee trim length gauge that I can use. But, when you're making a lot of these, it's kind of rough on the old hands. But, all I'm doing is basically chamfering the inside and the outside of the brass. Now I could take it and go ahead and put it over here in my turret press and size it, but it's still way too long. Get the calibers out right here. Right now that case is 1.4 inches. 1.4 inches long. And remember, it's supposed to be 1.368 inches. So what I do, and I'll show you as soon as I pick this one out off the floor that just dropped. Get the camera, bring it over here. I have an RCBS trimmer. It's already set. I go ahead, lock that case in, and I go ahead and trim it to length. so it's already trimmed the length now. Now, of course, I have to deburr it again. Okay. And now, if I get the calipers, I just want to show you this. Okay, I've got it set. These are trimming out to 1, 3, 6, 7. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, bring the camera back over here. Set it down here. And I'm going to size this. Kind of zoom in on that so you can see this. Okay. So I'm going to size this. Okay, it just decapped it, deprimed it, whatever you want to call it. Of course, I'll have to clean out the primer pocket here. Okay, but there it is. Back out. There's the case. But now, with anything, you know, squeeze that neck down. Remember the dimension was 1.367. I could leave this where it's at. It's 1.37. I don't have to trim it again. But so far all my brass is trimmed to 1.367. This 1.37 is just a little bit bigger than 1.368. So what I do, I'll go back over here to the RCBS trimmer. Lock that in place. And I'll shave just a little bit more. Now, some people might think, man, it's a lot of steps. But I want this to be, I want all my cases to be the same length. Because I'm fixing this up for hunting rounds, not plinking rounds, hunting rounds. So there's that one. And just for grins and tickles, just so I can make positively sure that the shoulder is seated right, I run it back up there one more time. Now I'll take the calipers. .361. Okay. And I'm going to look at some that I've already done. 1.361. So all my cases now are 1.361. Every one of them will be that size. So I've got 4 more cases here to do. So now that I've trimmed, see, I got to trim these down over on the RCBS trimmer, bring them back, size them, take them back, trim them one more time, and then I run it through the sizing die one more time. That way all my brass is going to be exactly the same length, and I seat my bullets using these Hornady Interlock 150 grain. And there's the bullet. When I seat that to the cantilever, these function perfectly in my 300 Blackout rifle. I'm going to be loading some up so I can go to the range, check the scope, and get it zeroed, and hopefully I'll have a good round to hunt with. Now, of course, here's your scrap that you cut off. You got a scrap bucket for brass that's no good anymore. Make sure you put that in it. That way you can take it to a recycling center or whatever. And I don't know what brass sells for per pound, but you do enough reloading, you'll end up with plenty of brass. So let me size these, and then I'm going to get ready to do some reloads, and I'll make it part of this video as well. Okay, there was another step I should have showed you. Instead of doing it by hand like I was doing, I've got the Lyman electronic case prepper. So I want to deburr and do the chamfering. You can do it right here. Saves a lot of time. Doesn't cramp your hand out. And of course, these haven't been sized yet. And this one has, so the primer's gone. I can clean out the primer pocket too. So usually I will do these, then size them through the press, which that's what I'm getting ready to do now. Set the camera back over here. I've got these 4 left to do. Okay. I'm operating this turret press. I've pulled the auto indexing rod out as a pretty much single stage press. That's what I like about the turret press. Okay. And I've got to go and run these back through the trimmer, and I'll be right back. So now, instead of using this to chamfer and deburr, and I'll go ahead and clean the primer pocket out. There you go. 300 Blackout case. All done. Check the measurement one more time. Make sure these are all the same. Okay, so they're all the same. So there's 5 cases, size for 300 Blackout. And I'll put this away to the side. I'm done with it. And I'm ready to start my reloading of some 300 Blackout. Like I said, that Lyman electric prep station saves a whole lot of wear and tear on your fingers using this and the Lee trim length gauge, because you usually have to lock your brass into this just like so. Put your brass in there, tighten that down. Of course, now this is made, you could put it on a drill, but you take that cutter on, or that trim length gauge on this cutter, go in and do your trimming, and then after you trim it, then you do your deburring, chamfering, however you want to call it. With that Lyman prep station, it's real easy. Of course, use RCBS trimmer once you've got it set to trim them. So now I'm ready to start loading some 300 Blackout.